there, good afternoon. It's time for the Midday News. This bulletin is coming to you live from the Joy 99.7 FM studios, Kokomlemle in Accra, at digital address GA0993341. Also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, affiliates across the country on ABN Radio in London and around the world at myjoyonline.com. The news is brought to you by Telesol 4G, Just a Touch, and UMB Bank, UMB Speed Up, DigiBank. Let's go. And coming up, National Peace Council calls for calm as tensions between Ghanaian and Nigerian traders in Swami heighten, warning the fears attacks could trigger reprisals on Ghanaian nationals living in Nigeria.
We shouldn't take the law into our own hands and then close down their shops, attack them. Remember that we also have some Ghanaians living in Nigeria, and this kind of thing can backcrash.
We'll get a live update as police restore calm after some traders locked up Nigerian shops. But is the ECOWAS protocol on free movement of goods and persons partly to blame for this phenomenon?
That protocol does not necessarily mean you pack your bag from Ghana, go to Gambia, and you start selling on the street. No.
We'll hear from an international relations expert who is asking the Immigration Service to set up and prevent miscreants from entering the country. And in our series on government's One Village, One Dam policy, we'll take you to the village of Zuarungu Gono, where residents say they regret giving out their rice farms for the construction of the dam.
But if we had known that this was the sort of this thing they were coming to do, for me to lose my land and to lose whatever I would have.
And in sports.
And two debutants in the Ghana squad for the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations have been sharing their expectations. We hear from Thomas Japan and Joseph Edu.
Also in the bulletin, NSMQ excitement fever catches Parliament as MPs root for their schools and also congratulate founders of the competition for the idea.
All the students from Central Region, we are telling them that the Central Region is the center for education. So they should do well and bring the trophy to the Central Region.
And later, ladies unable to cry under the power of God in church for fear of messing up their makeup.
You can go to church and the message will make you cry. But these days, some of our ladies, their mascara is even too much that they can't even cry.
We have more of that from the presiding Bishop of Perez Chapel International, Bishop Charles Ajinasare. All that and more here on the Midday News with me, Emefa Apau. And the National Peace Council is calling for calm as tensions between Ghanaian and Nigerian traders in Swami heighten, warning the fierce attacks could trigger reprisals on Ghanaian nationals living in Nigeria. Earlier today, angry traders clad in red armbands and chanting locked up the shops of their Nigerian colleagues who they accuse of, among others, selling fake goods and underpricing their goods as well. Our reporters say some of them destroy the Nigerians' properties. Listen.
You can do whatever you have here in your country. But mind you that you people, some of your people is in my country, some of your people is in my country, some of your people is in America. Let your people that is in America and your people that is in another country, let those people there, let the people of America, treat them as you people treat me. Let your people in Togo, let the donation, treat them as you people treat me.
Now it took the intervention of some leaders of the traders to restore calm.
Many people are angry, and I'm the only one, and leaders, we are just few, and we can't guarantee their safety. For us, for this leaders for some time, for us to talk to our members, we know it's sometimes we have many people who understand easily and people to do some difficult, but it all would be a situation that we are trying to control. So there is nothing that is our need or hand that we can control. Everything is under control. We try to control the situation. We try to manage the situation and the pressure on the ground now. Because as now, our leaders are, many of our people are on the table with the Nigerians. They are supposed to come on the ground to calm the situation down. So for now, as we know the ground, we are witness.
Some leaders of the traders in Swami. Let's go live to the markets now. My colleague Prince Apia and the team have been there since dawn and joins us on the line. Now, Prince, I'm sure you're still at the market and we're told that they were going to get police protection. What happened to it?
I should say that as at the time we visited the Swami enclave in the early hours of the morning, somewhere 5:36, we had not seen any police personnel there. We have not seen any security person there. It was later in the day around 8, 9 that we saw one police patrol vehicle come there. So between that time, we didn't see any of the shops belonging to the Nigerian traders opening. It was from that section to somewhere behind the Room Hotel area where 1 or 2 shops were open. So from that 9 thereabout, the Ghanaian traders decided to mobilize themselves. A section of them went through the enclave and forced those shops to close. And at some point in time, one of the shops, they had to ransack the things and destroy some of the items in there.
So it looks like the situation has normalized as we speak. Is that the case?
Yes, it has normalized. Leadership of the youth there and the police came in and together they managed to normalize the situation and calm has restored as I speak to you.
Now, explain to us the sound that we heard earlier. We heard a Nigerian more like wailing and talking about what is happening. Tell us a bit about that sound, what we heard in that sound.
Okay, so that lady in particular, the Ghanaian traders that went into the shop destroyed a number of the items in there. So she was actually crying and she was saying that some Ghanaians are also in their country, some Ghanaians are also in other countries like Togo, like America and all that. If these things are meted out to them, would they be happy about it? And she was crying. So basically, that's what she was saying in the voice there.
Now, we understand the police is expected to address a news conference. What can you tell us about that?
As I speak to you, we have headed to the police command. The meeting has not started yet, but we're told that the police is going to address this particular issue happening at the Swan magazine. Because yesterday they had met both sides of the Ghanaian leadership, traders, and then the Nigerian traders as well over this particular issue. So we believe that today's meeting is going to be something that is going to bring some lasting solution to the challenge there.
My colleague Prince Apia there reporting from Swami, and then also we'll get more from that press conference to be addressed by the police. Meanwhile, the National Peace Council has asked Ghanaians to desist from attacking Nigerian nationals, but rather report suspicious characters to the security agencies. The council says attacks on Nigerians could trigger reprisals from nationals living in Nigeria. Board member of the National Peace Council, Reverend Dr. Ni Amodako, believes the tension between Ghana and Nigeria could create instability in the sub-region.
Fracas that is going on between Ghanaians and Nigerians in our country is uncalled for. Because you see, it is important for us to acknowledge that we are a family in this sub-region. Especially when it comes to Ghana and Nigeria. We are more like brothers, okay? And therefore, what for me, as a minister of the gospel would say, as scripture says, is that we should always seek the welfare of our neighbors and pray for them. Now, obviously, there may be some elements, some criminal elements amongst them who may have found themselves or, inroads into our country and maybe causing some acts of criminality. Now, let's leave that to the security agencies to deal with. If we get to find that somebody is behaving in a manner that is untoward, the obvious thing is to report such persons to the security agencies for them to deal with. We shouldn't take the law into our own hands and then, close down their shops, attack them, stone them. That wouldn't bother well for anybody. Now we need to remember that we also have some Ghanaians living in Nigeria, and this kind of thing can backcrash. And when that happens, what becomes of our brethren there?
There could be a reprisal.
There could be a reprisal, and which would be unfortunate. So I would plead with my fellow Ghanaians as a member of the National Peace Council on behalf of my chairman and the others on the board that let us do things decently as Ghanaians. We've been known to be very civil.
You heard the board member of the National Peace Council, Reverend Dr. Ni Amudako. Deputy Trades Minister Carlos Ahinkra agrees. He has urged restraint on the part of the Ghanaian traders, saying government will ensure the country's laws are respected.
You see, you don't want to create a situation whereby there will be a reprisal of other citizens against our own in their countries. We have to be extremely cautious and deal with this diplomatically. I would have preferred that we keep the solution of this problem to government, and or we give it to government and ensure that no individuals will have that singular right to go in there to other closed shops or attack people, in inverted commas, as we are hearing from Kumasi. It is a very dangerous situation. It is a very serious thing to happen to any country. Let me give you an example. Not too long ago, we heard about harassment of citizens of Nigeria in South Africa. And it became so bad to the Nigerians that they immediately moved in and started closing all South Africa investments in Nigeria. The ShopRites, the games, even MTN suffered a little bit of blow. And we don't want this to happen in our country. Nigeria has always been our big brother.
You heard the Deputy Trades Minister Carlos Ahinkra. Now, in a related development, an international relations expert, Dr. Vladimir Enchidanso, has dismissed claims by some that the ECOWAS protocol on free movement of goods and persons is partly to blame for this phenomenon. He says the responsibility of ensuring miscreants do not enter the country lies on the Ghana Immigration Service and urged them to sit up to prevent such occurrences in the future. Dr. Enchidanso spoke on the AM show.
It's a very good protocol. Without that, there is no integration. When you want to build from the free trade area, customs union, beyond the customs union, you must have free movement of goods, persons, and establishment. You must free the market, because you are creating a larger market. You are now entering into what we call the market sector before you go to full-blown economic union. And at that level, there's no way you stifle the movement of goods and persons. And so that protocol does not necessarily also mean we don't have one community yet like the EU. It does not necessarily mean you pack your bag from Ghana, go to Gambia, and you start selling on the street. No, it does not. There are rules and regulations because we are not one union yet. So when you reach Gambia, for example, you got to register. Immigration you enter freely without visa. But as soon as you enter, ask for your passport, it must register that you have entered Gambia. And when you have entered Gambia, your minimum of 72 hours will be given you, 90 days will be given you. And after that, if you want to continue beyond the 90 days and you have money to establish, you go for establishment. So the gatekeepers, that is immigration, will have to follow and make sure that you have not entered as a bad person. The security aspect must be taken care of.
International relations expert Dr. Vladimir Enchidanso. You're still listening to the Midday News on Joy 99.7 FM. Now, today we wrap up our series on communities in the Upper East region where dams are being constructed under government's one village, one dam policy. We'll take you to the community of Zuarungu Gono in the Bolgatanga East District, where residents are expressing regrets for giving out their rice fields for the construction of the dam. They say, contrary to what they expected, the dams being constructed there is too small and cannot hold enough for irrigation farming. Joy News' Upper East correspondent Albert Sori and Joshua Sa of A1 Radio in Bolgatanga put together this report.
According to the residents of Zuarungu Gono, the land here was waterlogged in nature, so they always cultivated rice on it.
We were farming all along.
Anaba Aduko is a farmer in this community. He said the land given out for the construction of this dam belongs to his family.
So this one, if they have come to do this, it will help our children in future. So this one, there was no problem, no agreement with us to say that we will release the land. So the land has been released freely and comfortably without any compensation.
However, the nature of work done as far as the construction of this dam is concerned has left them disappointed.
We are thinking that a big dump somehow, but not something something we cannot even contain water like the water used to be. It will not even do for even the animals to drink, much more for farming. And we're not even talking of commercial farming. Peasant farming, we can't even do it too. Maybe tomatoes or bitter or berry. We can't even do it. Look at the water.
Here too, at Zuarungu Gono, the dam was just about the size of a football field. At the time of our visit, the water had not covered it entirely, and there was a lot of excavated soil all around it, signs that the work may not yet have been completed. Also, the embankment looked strong, and the spillway, which appeared to still be under construction, also looked too large for a dam this size. According to the residents of Zuarungu Gono, the contractor here too worked for just about a week and left the site, leaving the community members wondering if he was coming back or not.
When we talk to the contractor, he says he takes instructions from Accra. So if you take instructions from Accra, what can the DCE do? So the DCE, there's nothing we can do. We only have to fall on him. And then the assignment to tell them that this is what is happening. You come and then take a look at it. But in reality, the DC chief executive, I don't think he has any powers. It is very poor thing the work they have done they have come to do for the community to enjoy, where you don't have to deny it. So we accepted. But if we had known that this was the sort of this thing they were coming to do, for me to lose my land and to lose whatever, I wouldn't have.
Well, the Deputy Minister of Monitoring and Evaluation, William Sabi, has indicated that after initial assessment, they've realized the landscape of some of the communities would not support the construction of dams. Thus, they've been forced to construct dugouts in some of the communities. He spoke to my colleague, Kwesi Parker Wilson.
But sometimes when it comes to implementation of a project or program, you also look at the needs of the people. If it serves the needs and it's able to do something. So, a dugout, even though it's not a dam, it's able to serve certain purpose at the border. And if that is what's going to help the people at that particular time, you don't insist that because we said we will build a dam, we will by all means build a dam. But and that is what, unfortunately, people look at. People were looking at the dugouts as dams. So they were judging that, oh, if it is a dam, then it is not right. When the ministry also knows that they are doing dugouts. The other aspect of it is that people were also.
So for now, how many dugouts are you constructing?
Let me also. People were too quick to also come because some of the projects have not been completed.
Yeah, sure.
So when a project is in progress, you don't come and say that I don't see it as what I was expecting it to come out, because that is not a final product. That's not the final thing that you are expecting. So in any particular project, for example, if they're constructing a building, you don't expect to see the building in a nicely painted when it is still
until it's completed, right?
Yes.
So how many dugouts is the government constructing, and how many dams are they doing for the beneficiary community?
I can't give the exact figures as of now because, we've just at a place that I just came and I don't want to give figures that will contradict with what I have.
Deputy Minister of Monitoring and Evaluation, William Sabi, there. Now, if you often drive through the streets of Accra, you're likely to have spotted street vendors chasing after vehicles to sell their wares. Driven by poverty, many of these young men and women risk their lives on a daily basis in the search for money. Joy News' in 10, Sharon Dankwa, drove through the streets of Accra and reports the risks continue to increase.
In the city of Accra, selling products on the side of the road wouldn't normally be associated with much danger, and it has become a common occurrence that many Ghanaians have come to welcome. But street sellers are now moving so close to vehicles that the threat of danger continues to grow.
We aren't really scared of the cars because we know that they are coming and they also see that we are here. They are the reason we are here. So the drivers that are coming take their time to make sure they don't hit us. But not all drivers are that cautious. Some say if we aren't careful, they will hit us. But not all drivers are that harsh.
Although sellers are gradually pushing the envelope with proximity, some drivers have become less cautious. So much so that sellers' biggest threat have now become motorcycle drivers.
Motorcycle riders don't stop to let us walk. They usually try to move in between cars where we are. They always try to weave between us, but they aren't cautious of us at all.
Many car drivers are now very aware of how close sellers are getting to their vehicles and fear for both their lives and others.
Yes, it is true that sellers get too close to our cars and we try our best to avoid them, but sometimes we get scared that our cars might just hit them.
After years of spending countless hours on the street, some workers still fear for their lives, but others are immune to the danger.
It is risky, yes, it is. But in Ghana, we are behaving like the youth. Things have become difficult for us, so we are trying to manage by selling on the streets, little by little.
According to the World Bank, the informal sector is a force in developing states, comprising between 25% and 40% of annual economic productions in both Africa and Asia. Street sellers say they plan to continue selling products during traffic stops. To most, it's their only form of survival, despite the risks. Reporting for Joy News, I'm Sharon Dankwa.
We'll take a quick break here on the Midday News. When we return, NSMQ excitement fever catches Parliament as MPs root for their schools and also congratulate founders of the competition for the idea.
All the students from Central Region, we are telling them that the Central Region is the center for education. So they should do well and bring the trophy to the Central Region.
Meanwhile, trainers of St. Peter's team says even though St. Augustine schools are through, they are not a threat at all to them. And later on the Midday News, also after sport, we'll get to talk about ladies unable to cry under the power of God in church for fear of messing up their makeup.
You can go to church and the message, yes, the message will make you cry. But these days, some of our ladies, their mascara is even too much that they can't even cry.
That's coming up after the break.
My name is Kwame Sefakai, and most of you know me as a media personality, but I am also a family man. The UMB mobile banking app, UMB Speed App, saves me so much time by letting me do almost all of my banking transactions on my phone. The cardless withdrawal feature allows me to withdraw cash from any UMB ATM without an ATM card. I can also pay bills, transfer money, request for a loan, invest money, and so much more. So now, I can spend less time at the bank and more time with the ones I love. Bank anywhere and anytime with a UMB mobile banking app, UMB Speed App, and get the time to do what you love most. Download the UMB Speed App from your Android, iOS, or Windows phone today. Call 0302-633-988 for more information. UMB Speed App, Digibank, let's go!
Thanks for staying with us here on the Midday News. We have sports now with Ridwan.
Yes, MF, we have 7 debutants in the Black Stars final. 23-man squad for the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations restarts on Friday. The team will close their training camp in Dubai tomorrow, Thursday, and fly out to their base in Ismaili, Egypt. Now, 2 of the newcomers are Joseph Edu, who won the Belgian league title with Genk, and then he's a centre-back. But first, let's hear from Manchester City-owned Thomas Ejapon, who spent last season on loan at Scottish side Hibernian.
To be honest, I think this is my major tournament in my football career, given the fact that I'm young as well. So, and I know what is at stake, a lot of expectations on us. But for me, it's also exciting for me as well to play in such a tournament.
It's a great, a great experience to be a part of the 23 and going to represent Ghana at the AFCON. I think everything is going on good so far. And everyone is determined and prepared, basic from the training and from the games.
You had Joseph Edu and then Thomas Ejapon's combo there from the camp in Dubai. That's how we wrap it up for Midday Sports. There's more on our website and also our social media handles.
Thank you, Ridwan. Now, the Tesano police has begun investigations into the circumstances that led to the burning of several structures at Vegas, a suburb of Achimota here in Accra last night. One person was stabbed and killed after a clash between rival groups. Police say the deceased was killed after some confusion over money to be shared between a group of men. Supporters of the deceased then went back to the community, setting some shacks on fire. Close to 100 residents have been rendered homeless following that destruction. Some of them spoke to Joy News.
I was saving this car because the mirror was burning.
So the guys wanted to burn the car?
They were burning the car. Don't say they were trying to burn the car.
Okay.
So I tried to save the car because the car is more costly than the kiosks that are burning.
I heard they were fighting over some amount of money. My store is totally burnt.
Everything I sell is burnt. We saw blood stains on one of the cars parked here, and the police have asked us not to clean it.
Now, my colleague Matilda Bumaga is in the area and joins us on the line. Matilda, what's the situation as we speak?
As we speak now, the situation is calm because we still have the police officers around trying to gather information, because they tell me that it's been very difficult for them last night till this afternoon for them to make any arrests, because the residents are tight-lipped on information. They are refusing to give them information, even though they made the initial complaint. But MFA, what the police say is that last night the information they picked up was that the structures here were on fire. They didn't get the notification that indeed someone had been killed. It was later they got that information. So they say it's been very difficult for them getting to the root of this matter, even though they have an idea that it was a gang that destroyed or set fires to structures along the stretch.
They are the same people who make the complaint, and when we come, instead of them pointing out the culprit, they will not. And we will do general sweep, and we won't get any information or any incriminating thing from any of them. And by so doing, we have to grant them bail. They like the way things are going. They serve them, they serve the criminals. They are with them. So it is difficult for them to point them out, which will lead to the arrest of the suspects.
You heard the police in the area. We're following that incident closely and bring you more as and when we get it. Now, members of parliament are encouraging lesser-known schools participating in the National Science and Maths Quiz to work hard and win the competition. Asin North MP Abna Durua delivered a statement on the floor of the House congratulating founders of the competition for the idea, noting it has grossly improved maths and science education. You can listen to some MPs who've been contributing to the statement.
Schools to learn hard and make high marks in this competition, especially all the students from Central Region. We are telling them that the Central Region is the center for education, so they should do well and bring the trophy to the Central Region.
At the national level, but they should go down up to the schools and even the primary schools. Mr. Speaker, one of the greatest problems why we lag behind in maths and English is the issue of poor starting standards, where we realize that maths and English is only taught mostly and competed for when the children get to either senior high school or at some part of the junior high school. Mr. Speaker, it doesn't help our people, it doesn't help all of us, and it doesn't help the children because they start.
And the talk is even on in Parliament. But let's head live to my colleague Maxwell Agbagba, who is there for us on the ground. Maxwell, so what's happening today? Who are competing, and how is it going so far?
Well, we're waiting for the contest between Pope John's school, Sunrise, and then Adventist girls. Majority of the people have been speaking here are predicting that Pope John's will win that contest and qualify to the next stage. Among the three competing schools, Pope John's scored 50 points during the regional qualifiers. Sunrise had 22 points. Adventist Girls Senior High School had 32 points. A majority of the people here are predicting based on these regional scores. But we know Sunrise Senior High School, they made a first appearance in 2018 and caused an upset when they beat Opoku-Ware School.
Maxwell Agbagba there. We'll get all the results later in our subsequent bulletins, and we'll talk about mascaras shortly and the Holy Spirit. But I'm sure Maps is wearing a mascara. But what's trending on social media?
All right, people are talking about the Ghana-Nigeria relations after some traders at Swami Magazine burnt tires for forcing shops belonging to Nigerians to close. At Seth Atang says, "This is so wrong, an embarrassment to our lovely country. We must learn how to follow due process in addressing all illegalities." And Andres Innocent says, "We have been reduced to nothing before the very eyes of our generation." Mark Ofosu is asking and is saying that we are digging our own grave. Patrick is asking, what is the difference between what we're doing and what we always blame South Africa for? Xenophobic attacks, when you point one finger at someone, the rest of your four fingers directly towards you.
Now, Maps will tell us about her story with mascaras and Holy Spirit later. But presiding Bishop of Perez Chapel International, Bishop Charles Ajinasari, says, ladies don't cry under the power of God in church anymore because they don't want to mess up their makeup. He revealed this on the special edition of Joy FM's Christian Talk Show, A Walk with Jesus. I'll leave you with that here on the Midday News with me, Emefa Apau. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com.
God is not there to tickle our emotions. We don't go to church to get happy. The word of God is there to rebuke, to exhort, and to admonish. So you can go to church